Hello, if you've ordered one of our veg boxes from TOFS, then I'm just going to go through a little tutorial of what to do with it. Obviously feel free to do whatever you like, but I'm just going to show you what I had planned when we put them together. We've also chucked in a couple of portions of our TOFS chocolate brownie as well, so you've got dessert, so basically lunch and dessert or dinner and dessert all sorted. So we're going to start off, we're going to make a nice tomato and mixed leaf red onion salad, and then we're going to make a nice vegetable bake. So I'll go through all that with you, and then we'll get it cooking, and hopefully it's nice and simple. You can all enjoy. If you do have any questions, then obviously just comment on here, and I can respond to it. But yeah, enjoy cooking, and here we go. So this is the box that's been delivered to your doorstep. We're going to wrap it in cling film just so that it's covered. So yeah, 2 portions of the TOFS chocolate brownie, which you don't need to do anything with other than they are quite nice warm actually, so you might want to warm them in the oven, but they're absolutely fine to eat, and that's all you need to do with them. And then yeah, we've got tomatoes. So we've got 2 tomatoes, which we're going to start off with. We're going to slice those up for the salad with 1 red onion, and then we've got there's a random selection of lettuces in each box, but on this one we've got some radicchio, some chicory, and some baby gem. We're just going to slice that up. And that's going to be the base for our, or not even the base, that is going to be our tomato, red onion and mixed leaf salad. We're going to use a lemon to dress that, so we're just going to juice the lemon. The only thing that's not in the box is olive oil and salt. They're the only 2 ingredients that we're going to add in. So I'm going to use a little bit of olive oil to dress the salad, and a little bit of salt for seasoning for this and for everything else. Here we go. First things first, we're going to chop up the lettuces. Like I said, there's just a random selection of lettuces in each box. Whichever ones you've got, just give them a quick wash and then chop them up. We are going to start with our radicchio, which we're shredding up like that. There's no right or wrong way to do it. I just like to chop it around about 1 centimetre thick, if not a little bit thinner. I've realised I'm actually on the wrong side because I'm right-handed, so I'm gonna carry on just chopping like this. If it looks like I'm making it look difficult, it's because I'm trying to do it so you can see it. I'll switch the camera angle for the rest of the video, but for now, just don't do what I'm doing. Just chop it properly. This is but yeah, chop it up like so. Apologies, it's been a while since I've been on camera. So chop up the lettuce, and then we're going to cut the red onion top and tail in half, and then just peel that. And then we're just going to slice that. We want that nice and thin because it's going to be raw, so we don't want it to be too sort of overpowering. They're naturally sweet anyway, but just as thin as is possible. This is going to be fun trying to chop this so you can see. There we go. Actually, it's all right. I've cleared myself a bit of room. Here we go. Right, so yeah, the whole onion in there, nicely chopped, and then we're going to chop the tomatoes into quarters. Before we do that, we are going to cut them in half, and we're just going to remove the stem. So just cut in, try and make it a bit easier for you to see. But basically, yeah, we're going to cut in and just remove that bit there, the stem where the bit sprouts out the top. That's quite tough, and you don't want that in your salad. It's not so bad if you're cooking it, but you don't really want to eat that raw. So we'll chuck that away, and then we're just going to cut all these into quarters. And then we're going to slice them partly for size, but also just for safety. It's nice and easy. Once they're in quarters, you'll see we're just going to flip them over and cut them one at a time so that we can get nice even sized chunks, which we'll just chuck into the bowl. There we go, look at that, beautiful tomato chopping skills. So we'll just scoop up all the juice in there as well, get all that flavour in, and then we're just going to cut the lemon in half and just squeeze that in there. Beautiful, nice freshness. We're doing this ahead of time so that the lemon juice, the olive oil and the salt sort of acts as a marinade as well as a dressing. So this is the first thing we're doing, little drizzle of olive oil, 1 lemon juice, sprinkle of salt, and just give that a good mix, and then we can just set that to one side while everything's cooking. So we'll just unpack the box. We've got the falafels, which we're going to add at the end. I've diced the celeriac up, block of butter, creme fraiche, potatoes, which we're going to chop up first. We've got some fresh thyme, which we can leave in the tray because we're just going to add that into the mix. 1 red onion, a little bit of spare lettuce that's escaped. Don't throw anything away, so we'll just chop that up and chuck that in with the rest of the salad. Fresh chives, which are going to be chopped up at the end with the spring onions to sprinkle on top. And 2 leeks. Four carrots. And then there's a random selection of mushrooms in the bottom as well, so we're just going to keep them in the tray, just break them up. And then we can get started with preparing the rest of the vegetables. So the potatoes, we're just going to top and tail them. Just makes them nice and safe to cut. So yeah, top and tail all 3 of them, and then we're going to peel them. Once they're peeled, we're just going to chop them up into a nice small chunk. The potatoes are going to take the longest time to cook of everything, so we just make sure we chop them the smallest. Like I said at the beginning, if anyone's got any questions, just put them in the comment section. It's all pretty straightforward. It's all relatively simple. But yeah, please feel free to ask any questions. We're going to be doing a few more cook-along series like this as well, with basic ingredients from your cupboards. So if there's anything anybody would like to know how to cook, pop that in the comments as well. Obviously, stocks are relatively limited as to what people have, so we're going to do, the first series is going to be like a cake series. So as long as you've got flour, eggs, sugar and butter, the idea is you can add to that basic sponge mix anything you've got in your cupboards. Anyway, back to these lovely potatoes. So we chuck the peel, and now we're going to peel the carrots. So yes, yeah, cakes are going to be the first series, and then we'll move on to some other things. I've done a few flatbreads on my Insta stories, which have proved popular, so we'll do a video for some flatbreads, nice and simple again. Bread's in short supply. All you need for this is flour, water and oil, and then you can add other bits to it as well. We've done one where we've added turmeric and chilies and sesame seeds, so you can get as inventive as you feel like with what's in your cupboard, but ultimately they work nicely with just flour and water and oil. So right, so carrots peeled, potatoes are peeled. I'm just going to chop these up. Nice and simple. I'll go through some basic knife skills. The reason we've top and tailed these is just so that they stay flat on the board, and then when you come to cut them as well, we're just going to put them into 2 quarters. So we'll cut each one into 4, and then we'll just lay 2 sides down flat on the board, and then that just means they're not moving around on the board, so they're nice and easy to cut, as you can see, nice and safe, like so. And then that's the size we're looking for, about that thickness. That just means they'll cook at the same time as everything else. So we chop the carrots up too. We're just looking for this sort of size, mix them with the potatoes in the tray, and then we're going to chop up the red onion. So we've peeled the red onion, just going to chop it in half and then just slice it. Nice, probably like 1 centimetre thick slices, like so. Again, nice and safe. Chuck that into the tray with the rest of the vegetables, and then we're going to go on to the leeks. So we're doing the leeks last because they're going to be really dirty. There's going to be a lot of mud inside them, so we don't want to contaminate any of the other vegetables. So we're going to do them last. So we're going to cut them in half lengthways, and then we're going to just cut them into the same sort of size as we did the carrots. So you literally split them in half like so, and then we're just going to chop them up. Again, nice and safe. Just flatten them on the board like so, and just run through them with a knife. We're going to put the leeks into a saucepan or a bowl, and we're just going to fill that with cold water and give them a good wash, just making sure we agitate them while they're in there. And then The thing is, when washing anything, don't empty the water out. Remove whatever it is you're washing from the water, because as soon as you empty it out, you're going to be emptying all the dirt and things out with it. Might sound like common sense, but you see a lot of people washing stuff and then pouring it into a sieve, and then all the dirt just goes on top of the stuff and in the sieve. So we're literally just going to take them from this pan and put them into the tray, like so. And that's the last bit of chopping for the tray bake. Once this is in, we're going to add the celeriac, and then we just got a couple bits more to chop while that's in the oven. As you can see in the bottom of there, that's all the dirt and the muck that you basically don't want. So flip the chopping board over so that's nice and clean. Give the knife a wash, and then we are going to chop up half a block of butter, and we're just going to chop that into nice uniform sized cubes, like so, and then place that across the top of the vegetables. Once that's all on there, we can add the celeriac. So first, a little bit of Susie salt though, not too much, but everybody needs a bit of salt in their diet, good minerals. So yeah, adding celeriac, and that's ready to go in the oven. So that's going in the oven at 180 degrees for 20 minutes. And while that's in there, we're just going to chop up the chives and the spring onions, which we're going to chuck on at the end. So we'll start with just peel the outer leaves of the spring onions. They're just a bit tough and not particularly, almost a little bit bitter. We just want a bit of sweetness. So this is going to come from the chives and the spring onions at the end. So we're not cooking these. So these are just going to be like a little garnish at the end. So peel the spring onions like so, and then we're just going to run a knife through them, chop them relatively small, like so. So you can line them all up together, take the tips off, and then just chop like so. And then spring onions, we're just going to chop nice and fine and mix them with the spring onions. So we can just put them to one side and use them to garnish at the end. We take it out of the oven after the first 20 minutes and it should look a little like this. We'll then put it back in for another 20 minutes. And then after the further 20 minutes, we're going to add the creme fraiche. Just spread that over the top. Use all the creme fraiche that's in the tub. Just spread it over. It's all going to melt and dissolve into there anyway. And then we're just going to place the falafels on top. So literally just sit there randomly on the top like so, and then once they're all in, it's going to go back in the oven, and we're nearly there. It's like a total cooking time of there's a total cooking time of 60 minutes, 3 lots of 20, I just did the maths. So pop that back in the oven for another 20 minutes, and then it will come out looking like this, and it's ready to serve. We're just going to sprinkle our little garnish on top, Salt Bae style, some spring onions and fresh chives. I've already put the tomato and red onion salad in the bowl, so we're just going to spoon the veg in, and then we're going to top that with a couple of falafels. There's obviously a lot of veg in there. The idea is you sort of feed 2 people with it, and then you can use the veg that's left for over the next couple of days. Either make it into a soup, or use it as a garnish for another meal, or a meal in itself. Or it's probably going to feed like 4 people in one meal.